Next up, we have Eva Weaver. Eva, I met a few years ago. We've had a number of walks across, I'm going to say cliff tops, so is that about right?
Sounds good.
Along the coast, hanging out in Phoenix Nest, which is this beautiful, beautiful center that Eva's created in Saltine. And I've really come to appreciate Eva. There's something about a kind of fierce tenderness and a sensitivity which really touches me deeply whenever we've had moments to connect. The kind of real heartfelt sensitivity, and I've appreciated every opportunity we've had to connect. So it's such a pleasure to have Eva join us this evening. Eva Weaver, her is a queer author, sex coach, sexological body worker, shamanic practitioner, and snake medicine guide. Through her coaching and bodywork practice, Back to Sex, she helps women, non-binary and genderqueer folks reconnect with their sexuality, reclaiming joy, pleasure, and empowerment. Now this is one of those talks where just to remind folk about the kind of trigger warnings and looking after yourselves, because we're going up a notch with this talk, and really just wanting to just invite everyone to keep breathing and just notice what's happening for you, breathe, regulate, if you notice that you're being triggered by anything that we're sharing this evening. A round of clicks, please, for Eva. Which way does it go?
It goes all the way slowly. It goes all the way slowly.
You hold that for me.
Talk amongst yourselves.
How's that?
Thank you, Bear, for that beautiful introduction and welcome. There are times in life when we hit deep change. Maybe we enter a new relationship, we get divorced, we enter menopause, somebody dies. Such times of change, we might instinctively know that there are also opportunities, but they leave us with disorientation and often big resistance for this change. Now, in traditional tribal communities all over the globe, we find what is called rites of passage. These are rituals and ceremonies that either celebrate or help along this time of change. They're like a threshold where we can step from our old self to the new self. And it's like the shedding of the skin of the snake. I've called this talk Through the Eye of the Needle. It's a metaphor that refers to an opening so slim that we cannot imagine how we possibly can move through that. And maybe there are things in life that we have carried around for most of our lives, maybe a deep sense of shame or guilt around our sexuality. Maybe we are so stuck and disempowered in a relationship or in a job. Then again, this would be a time for where ritual can be incredibly powerful. Now, when I've entered the world of conscious sexuality and conscious kink about 10 years ago, what I found was that using eros, so pleasure, sensuality, sexuality, and particular tools of kink were incredibly transformative. And I've experienced that for myself for all these years, and I've worked with many, many people in that way. So this evening I want to speak about how we can use eros and such rituals to really help us in deep times of change. You pulled me through the eye of the needle, someone said recently, when I conducted a ritual with them that included rope, bondage, and other tools. And it made me really feel so honored and happy that that happened for them, and hence I used that metaphor. So I want to speak about 3 tools that I found incredibly helpful, and I call them my snake medicine apothecary. So this is sensual rope bondage, which reminds me of the sensual movement of the snake. The second is needle play. So these are temporary piercings by hypodermic needles, and for me that connects with the snake bite that can wake us. And then there's fire massage, fire play. A common ingredient, whatever we use, whatever tool we use for such a ritual, are these. Safety first, as always, to setting the boundaries, to knowing about consent, self-consent, looking at our health, our mental health, confidentiality, all of that. Secondly, the intention. We do not ever walk casually in something like that. Why would we? So creating a really powerful intention is key. It's like the arrow or the anchor. And such intentions can be twofold. Could be we really want to let something go. We're so tired of it, we want to shed it. But equally, we want to call in something new. So very often these intentions are double. Grounding, resourcing. We want to enter a ritual in the most embodied way. And then there's the connection. So then the actual ritual, of course, the closing and the aftercare. So let me share about rope. I brought my rope. It's very snaky. So the first aspect of a rope for me is sensuality. How we can wake our essential erotic self. Or if I work with someone, how to wake that in another. The second is to feel held, to feel contained. This might be we're going through a really rough time, we feel anxious, we feel uncontained. So to be tied with love and care, to be in that space, can be incredibly beautiful, holding, containing, anchoring, grounding. Thirdly, the rope can become an embodied metaphor for what constricts us, for what old shame, old guilt, whatever it is. So within a ritual, I might tie someone very tightly and really have them feel one more time that shame they carry around. Like this person who I pulled through the eye of the needle, I had them speak and really feel and struggle one more time against that constriction. Are you ready? Are you really ready to let this go? Yes. And then we can release this. We have a slide. And another. There's great tenderness. Another tool I love is needle play. Next slide, please. These are temporary piercings done by hypodermic needles. Again, the intention is crucial. I never use this in a play way. For me, this is a real deep medicine, snake medicine. And the beautiful thing about the needles is they're so precise. So if we have a really strong intention, I used this through my divorce. I used it to really call back my erotic sexual energy. So we infuse and imbued the needle with intention. We pre-negotiate where the needle goes. There's particular places on the body. We eye gaze, we breathe together, we speak out the intention, we call in support, and when the time is right, when we're ready, I place the needle penetrating in and out. Needle is left in for a while and then it's taken out. So the intention really penetrates deep in the body, and I think also these tools are so powerful because they touch the body and anchor us in the body. We pull it out. One needle can be enough. It can be 3. Next slide, please. There can be also a pattern. So on this side, at some time in my life when I was going through a big change, I wanted to have placed a snake. These are 52 hypodermic needles. And I was calling back my sexual energy and also my voice. And on the right side, we created a peony. And I worked with a dear friend who wanted to once and for all shed the scarcity and connect with money in a different way. And peony was the symbol of abundance. Next slide, please. And lastly, very briefly, fire. Now, fire is the most transformative, the quickest energy we can transform. The question here is, what would you like to burn away, and what would you like to put fire under? And so these are fire sticks lit with flammable liquid and placed over the body. Can also involve touch, speaking the intention. There's an opportunity to really let the fire take what doesn't serve us, as well as for the body to take from the fire what is needed for the new life. So these are examples, and I haven't spoken much of intentions, but it could be in the realm of sexuality. It could be to step into a new role, to ignite an archetype. So, yeah, thank you so much. My name is Eva Weaver. My cards are at home, but I have a list. If there are times when you need a custom ritual, there you go.
Local snake priestess, Eva Weaver.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? I mean, there are many, surely, right? But any questions for Eva Weaver? This is your chance. Oh yes, Bethany, please.
Sorry if I zoned out, but how long have you been doing the snake practice? And have you experienced much backlash to that if you've been doing it a long time?
So I've been living with snake for 7 years, and snake medicine, which is what we can learn from the snakes and from the symbolism of the snakes, been with me for all these years. And I've been working in conscious sexuality for almost 10 years, so at some point this is woven, and I feel the journey of the snake and of sexuality. They've always walked together, they've been demonized together, and they are coming back together. So yes, backlash, more fear and anxiety, but very often when people really find themselves in the present of snake, that dissolves. Thank you.
Any other questions?
It's just I guess a little one. I'm curious around the needles and like if they scar.
No, they absolutely don't. They're temporary I want to say if you're lucky, you see them the next day. There's when they're out, there's no scarring, no. Yeah. And we work with safer sex protocols always around blood and
I just want to say super inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Eva Weaver. Sorry. Right.
Yeah, if you're interested, mailing list.